Well. Hello, everybody, and almost soon, happy Turkey Day. Welcome to another edition of the XFFL Show, episode number 14. Ooh, love to see it, hear it, all that fun stuff. I'm your host, Josh Mitchell, also the commissioner of this lovely league known as the XFFL, and also the head coach, the captain, and the owner of the New England Nexus. I know, so many different hats I wear. Anyway, so kind of know the routine of the show by now. We discussed what happened last week. We talked to the guy who scored the most points in the week, and we preview what's to come in lovely week number 12, which just happens to be the week of Thanksgiving. Question for you all. When is it appropriate to wear a Detroit Lions shirt or jersey for that matter? Only on Thanksgiving because Detroit Lions suck. Anyway, let's stick with what we know best, and that is recapping week 11 of the XFFL. As it was stated before by me, coach hat on right now, we're trying to lose. We want a top 3 pick going into next year's draft, the 2022 XFFL draft. But some things, I guess, are going to be put on hold a little bit or make things a little more complicated because the New England Nexus defeat the Big Ben Blackbeards by a final score of 99.78 to 90.04. Now, we talked about this last week. I was projecting big games from the Cowboy trio from Mr. Skipper here of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke could have had a much, much better game. He only had 12 points on the day. But then you look at CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, and they combined for 9 points. A quarterback and a wide receiver, the number one wide receiver, who ended up getting hurt, so we kind of throw that out. But the quarterback, only 4.6 points. Out of nowhere. I don't know. Looking down the list, it wasn't just that at fault. DK Metcalf only 7. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ended up starting for the Kansas City Chiefs. Therefore, Darrell Williams only got 3.6 points. Kelsey had 18. Mike Williams, finally, welcome back to being relevant, 20 points on the day. On the other side of things, I traded away Mike Evans, traded away Aaron Jones, traded away Leonard Fournette, traded away the Bills defense, thinking, okay, I got a position to at least lower my point total, even trading Mark Ingram away, who started. Justin Herbert, 35.2 points. Bro, make a decision right now. It's either you're going to be consistently good or consistently bad. In the NFL scheme of things, you're doing great. You're like a top 5 quarterback. In the fantasy world of things, it's, I don't know. You randomly had 90 rushing yards last night. Anyway, Terry McLaurin, 21 points. Go figure. Dallas Goedert, 11. Everyone else basically didn't even hit their projections, and I still won. Anyway, moving on to our next matchup. Number 1 seed remains the number 1 seed. North Carolina Carpetbaggers take down the Alpine Extreme 152.3 to 97.4. Aaron Rodgers, 33 points in a losing effort, but one heck of a game. Chris Godwin, 19 points on the day. Najee Harris, 16.9 points. Austin Eckler. Stone cold Austin Eckler. 41.5 points on the day. The other side of things, used car salesman, only 9. Adam Thielen, 22. Mike Evans, newly acquired, got 20 and is now the all-time touchdown leader, or at least not passing, obviously, but scoring touchdown leader in Buccaneers history. Crazy to think. Mark Ingram, also newly acquired, 15 points in the day. Mark Andrews, 15 points in the day. Buffalo Bills defense, -4. Who would have thought? Not me. So that is 4 losses in a row for the Extreme. Can they bounce back? We shall see. Speaking of teams who finally bounced back, the longest losing streak in the XFFL is over. Riverhead Blue Waves, roll on. 162.92 to 105.82 over the Cleveland Clowns. It wasn't because of Ryan Tannehill, only 13 points. But Devontae Adams, 30 points. Yep. Keenan Allen, 20 points? Yep. Dalvin Cook, 22 points? Yep. Zach Ertz, pretty much anybody, he puts a tight end in that slot, tight end does good. 28 points? Yep. Myles Gaskin, okay, 18.6 points. On the other side of things, Kyler Murray has just been a thorn in the side of the Cleveland Clowns. 3 straight games not playing. Had to go with Tua. He had 18 points. It's not terrible, but the rest of the team didn't live up, or at least some parts didn't live up to expectations. Nick Chubb did his job. Tyreek Hill did his job. Deebo Samuel did his job. Everyone else just didn't. And everyone on the Red Red Blue Waves over exceeded expectations. Next matchup. It had to come to an end soon. The former longest winning streak is over. The Malone Mooney fall to Rochester Revenge, 174.8 to 120.28. Look at the tail of tape. In no surprise whatsoever, Patrick Mahomes falls back down to reality of what's been the 2021 season. 8.5 points. But again, quarterback didn't matter for this game. Stephon Diggs, 18 points. James Conner, 20 points. Stephon Diggs. Justin Jefferson, the current wide receiver for the Vikings, 37 points. New England's defense, 28 points. Nick Folk, 16 points. Pretty much, Chris needed a miracle after Thursday night's performance from the Patriots defense and Nick Folk. And unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Jalen Hurts, 30 points, looking like an absolute stud at the fantasy quarterback position. Maybe a fantasy keeper? I don't know. Jalen Waddle, 20 points. McCaffrey, 24 points. Kittle, 13 points. Everyone else didn't do much. And then our final game. Now you're thinking, 174 points is a lot of points. It is, but it wasn't the highest point total of the week. That belongs to Brian Michella and the New York Potato Skins. They defeat the Charlotte Woo Outlaws 176.78 to 93.16. 176 points. Now, who would you say accounted for nearly a third of those points? Well, that'd be Jonathan Taylor. 53.4 points on the day. In the words of Kylo Ren, more! Tom Brady, 20 points. Deontay Johnson, 23 points. Joe Mixon, 24 points. And DeAndre Swift, 22 points. Spoiler alert, he's keeping DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor unless something terrible happens to one of them. Spoiler alert. On the other side, Charlotte Woo Outlaws, it's just a miss of a day or a week. T. Higgins, 3, didn't really do it. Josh Allen, I don't know what's happened to Josh Allen. 18 points is it's okay, but we're expecting like 30, 35 points from Josh Allen every week, and he's not providing, throwing picks, throwing for like 250 yards. Michael Gallup didn't do much, and Antonio Gibson didn't do much. Saquon Barkley, again, didn't do much. Pretty much the story of the Charlotte Outlaws this week is they just didn't do too much or anything at all. Chris Boswell, 18 points, though. Hey, look at you. But yes, Mike Warren, just the players didn't really connect. On the other side of things, Brian Michella and his players really connected. 176.78 points on the day. And with my pleasure, it is I to greet the owner, captain, head coach, whatever adjective you want to add to his name, Mr. Brian Michella from the New York Potato Skins. Brian, how we doing? How's the team doing?
I like to call myself the Jackie Moon of the XFFL. I would suit up if it wasn't for that incident in 2015.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your team. Honestly, Jonathan Taylor is as I put right here, the man. We watched the game together. What were your thoughts just watching that performance unfold?
I think my thoughts were well documented at the time. I was playing a hit Eminem piece from back in the day asking if the real Slim Shady would stand up. I am now seated because I stood up too much that Sunday. Jonathan Taylor proved to be the real Slim Shady and decided to go nuclear. And I'm very happy to have kept him. We're actually best
Yeah,
friends now.
I know there was a lot of debate last year, but that seems like you made a wise choice, my friend. Very wise.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to your quarterback. I don't know if it's sometimes the alcohol or if it's just you're in a bad mood at times, but you like to have a love-hate relationship with your quarterback. You on the loving fence right now?
I'm on the loving fence. Yeah, I definitely hate him at times, and then as I pull up his stats here, I forget that he's also the fourth highest scorer in fantasy football this year.
Mhm.
With his bye week already played. So yeah, I'm looking at his schedule. He gets Indy, he gets Atlanta. I'm hoping we can get some wins in the next 2 weeks, secure that playoff spot in what is a very tight race, and yeah, we're gonna go from there. Right now, he's got New Orleans week 15, which could be a bye week for us. He's used to those. I'm not as used to those in recent
Mhm.
years. And he goes to Carolina, which I'm not going to bench him. I'm not going to go play Teddy Bridgewater against whoever he's playing that week instead if he has a better
Mhm.
matchup. And then he gets the Jets week 17.
Mhm.
So really, there are no questionable matchups between now and a potential championship run.
Now, I guess I don't want to say they're questionable, but when you look at your team, face value, there's clearly a stronger side where it comes to running backs and then wide receivers. And running backs are like through the roof for your team. Is there any doubt in your wide receivers? Or are you totally fine with the guys that you have if they play like DeAndre Hopkins?
Deontay Johnson is the most underrated wide receiver in fantasy football, bar none. The man has put up in our league, respectively. He put up 13 and 11 points the prior 2 weeks. Before that, he hadn't put up under less than 14. The Steelers' offense runs through Najee Harris if Najee Harris is playing well, but he has a dinosaur at quarterback, specifically a T Rex. Big Ben. He's old, can't throw the ball. That's why they got little arms. They can't throw well.
Yeah.
He's just he's just not good. That being said, the fact that he's able to put up these numbers, I have no problem plugging him in and playing every week. DeAndre Hopkins, he's been hurt the last month. He hasn't done anything. But when he was playing, when he was healthy, he had maybe 2 down games. I have no problem plugging him back in. Hollywood Brown, you look at his numbers, he's been ripping up the field in against Detroit and the Chargers, whereas 2 single-digit games outside of last week at Miami. I don't remember what happened in Miami. I don't think I was able to watch the game so closely. But those 2 other games I mentioned, he had multiple touchdown passes hit his hands. He just didn't bring it in.
Mhm.
But those go from being 8 and 7 point games to being at least another, well, 7 for touchdowns and then how many. So both those could easily be 20-point games. I'm not. So long story short, I am not nervous with my wide receivers.
Okay.
We're
Well,
rolling.
there's only 3 weeks left. You're obviously in the top half of the league, but again, the bottom half is only 2 games behind for the second spot. I'm going to give you the floor. You can trash whoever you want, but you're facing Scott this week, who's also kind of on your tail and has been
Mhm.
on a roll recently. So feel free to say as you.
Oh, I have something to say to Scott. Scott, hi, how's it going? I'm not going to talk shit. What I'm going to do is I saw there was a little fundraiser thing that on Facebook that you had posted, and I don't know if this is league appropriate, but I'd like to wager a little bet because we at the Potato Skins are fans of friendly wagers and helping whatever it is they have going on. And I'd like to wager, I think it was a $10 chocolate. I don't know. We can talk. There was like a $10 like dark chocolate thing on there. If I win, I'd like him to buy me one and mail it to me. But if I win, I can Venmo him money for one. And I don't know what he does with the money then, but yeah, let's do that. I think that's all I have because I'm not good at talking shit.
No harsh words there. That's a shocker. Anyway, let's get right to it. And I guess we're gonna dub this the chocolate bar game. I don't know. The New York Potato Skins taking on the Rochester Revenge in the dark chocolate bar game. Tom Brady versus Indy. That's kind of a toss-up for me personally, just because Indy's been doing very decent. Jonathan Taylor versus Tampa Bay. Oh, what do you know? DeAndre Swift Thursday on Thanksgiving versus Chicago. That's a good matchup. And Mixon versus Pittsburgh. I think that'll be a good matchup too. Oh, and Hawkinson versus Chicago on Thanksgiving, which I like as well. On the other side of things, no Patrick Mahomes because he's on a bye. Right now, it's Kirk Cousins versus San Fran. Kind of a toss-up because San Fran's kind of on the up and up. But also, the Vikings are on the up and up. Stephon Diggs versus New Orleans. Justin Jefferson versus San Francisco. So maybe that means something. Connection. Kirk to Justin Jefferson. Double points. You don't see that too often, especially in the XFFL. And then Darren Waller versus Dallas, also Thanksgiving. And then right now slated for the flex is Tyler Lockett versus Washington. Right now, I'm, again, very torn, but there's also a part of me that says, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with, yeah, I'm going to go with the New York Potato Skins. I like what Brian said. Deontay Johnson is a very underrated fantasy football guy. 59 catches on the year, 714 yards. Pretty good. Pretty good, I would say. Yeah. Anyway, gonna go with Potato Skins. I think this will be a close one. Melvin Gordon's kind of always we're not sure what kind of Melvin Gordon we're gonna get. We don't know if Javonte Williams will take over. Same thing with James Robinson too, although he's kind of been sort of consistent. There are some games where he gets like 5-6 carries and that's it because they're playing from behind. Going Potato Skins. Next matchup on the docket, Alpine Extreme versus the Cleveland Clowns. A little personal rivalry that's been, I guess, cooking for many years. Lamar Jackson versus Cleveland. He's questionable. Who knows if he still has his illness. Adam Thielen versus San Fran. Mike Evans versus Indy. Kamara versus Buffalo. Also questionable. If he can't play, there's Mark Ingram. Aaron Jones is questionable. If he can't play, he has to wait 2 weeks to play Aaron Jones. Other side, Kyler Murray. He's on a bye. So this will be 4 weeks in a row. Tom does not get Kyler Murray. Right now, possibly Tua. Will we see a quarterback change? Who knows? Hunter Renfrow versus Dallas. DJ Moore versus Miami. Chubb and Montgomery. That duo seems solid. And then Deebo Samuel has just come out of nowhere and has been a very impressive wide receiver this year. And there's a lot of question marks on the Alpine Extreme side, but there's also question marks on the Cleveland Clowns side. Toss up, honestly, but I guess it's until you do something. You're on a 4-game losing streak, Mr. Palaki. I'm going to go with Cleveland Clowns. But there's always that little, the Mitchell curse, according to Tom. So if I'm wrong, Tom, then the curse is alive and real. Next matchup on our schedule. North Carolina Carpetbaggers, number 1 seed, versus the number 9 seed, the Malone Mutiny. Let's go Mutiny. Aaron Rodgers versus LA, the Rams. Godwin versus Indy. Seeming like everybody has someone in that Indy and Tampa Bay game. Harris versus Cincy. Eckler versus Denver. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, it's A.J. Dillon versus the Rams. The other side, Jalen Hurts versus the Giants. That seems pretty good. Waddle versus Carolina. George Kittle versus San Francisco. They got rid of Adrian Peterson, so Deontay Foreman looks like the leading back, so maybe an uptick in carries there. Sorry, but I'm going with the Carpetbaggers. It's a very stacked lineup, head to toe. Pretty much very simple. Carpetbaggers. Next matchup, the New England Nexus take on the Charlotte Woo Outlaws. Obviously, spoiler alert, not looking to win. Didn't want to win last week, but I did. So right now we have Joe Burrow in, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, and then it kind of gets a little wonky. Zach Moss, Jeff Wilson, Alex Collins. Not expecting much. And the other side, Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, I expect much out of them. Saquon Barkley, should expect a lot, but again, I don't know what the Giants are doing this year. They fired Jason Garrett. Check. What's next up? Mike Gesicki versus Carolina. That should be good too. I'm picking the Woo Outlaws. Not a surprise. But who knows? Maybe this will be back-to-back weeks that I score 90 points and win. Right now, I'm on a 3-game streak of scoring between 90 and 99 points. So why not make it 4 in a row? And our final matchup for Turkey Week. The River Blue Waves versus the Big Ben Blackbeards. Let's look at the matchup. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, questionable, and Ezekiel Elliott. It's the same thing every week, but CeeDee Lamb can't play. Looks like Mike Williams just slides right on up. You have Michael Pittman there. You have Elijah Moore, who's been very good as well. Looking like Cordell Patterson will come back. So that's a very good play in there. DK Metcalf versus Washington, also good. Other side, pretty much a healthy squad, besides Derrick Henry, for the River Blue Waves. Again, this is fairly close, as it should be, because these two teams, not statistically, but on paper, face name value, pretty high on the list of face name values. So, it can go either way. I can't see Dak doing that horrible performance from last week, but it is a short week. And if he doesn't have his number 1 receiver, Mari Cooper, and then if he doesn't have his number 2 wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, that kind of throws a wrench into the plans. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This is probably the one time that I'm going to go Big Ben Blackbeards just on the sole fact that I can't see Dak doing back-to-back games that terrible. A man once told me, you're better than that. And Dak, you're clearly better than that. But again, River Blue Waves do have a stacked lineup too. So again, this could be one of the high-scoring games. That's why I saved it for last. Pretty an even matchup. Within a couple points for projections. So who knows? But yeah, at the moment, I'll favor Big Ben Blackbeards. CeeDee Lamb doesn't play. Still doesn't really change much. But again, pretty much needs 1 or 2 breakout players from either of them to kind of skyrocket them to the top. But yes, thank you again for tuning in to another lovely edition of the XFFL Show. Again, I'm your host, Josh Mitchell, the current Lions jersey wearer for Thanksgiving. So have a great Turkey Day. Have a great holiday with friends, family, all that fun stuff. And we'll come back next week for another edition of this show. 3 weeks left, boys. The playoffs begin. And I hope I'm not part of it. See ya.